All right, on item 10, conduct of business, we have two items. The first is to receive a quarterly financial report as of March 31st, 2015 for the 2014-15 General Fund, Special Revenue Funds, Enterprise Funds, and Internal Service Funds budget, and adopt a resolution approving the third quarter budget amendment, fiscal year 2014-15, General Fund, Self-Insurance Fund, Wastewater Fund, and Water Fund budgets.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the Council. The City's third quarter budget report is prepared in order to compare the revenues and expenditures in the first 9 months of the current year with both the budget and the first 9 months of the previous year. In addition, as part of the third quarter process, the budget is reviewed to determine if any adjustments should be proposed in this report. And staff is recommending several adjustments, and I will be covering them as I go through the presentation. Also, I understand that this is a fairly new process for the city, but it's being done to keep the budget more on track, keep it more accurate, so that in a year we don't have line items that are actually over budget. So with that, I'll start. Overall, general fund revenues are on track at 67% of budget, and that is approximately $1.6 million higher in the prior year. And I apologize, I believe the staff report said 1.7. Maybe I was hopeful, but it was 1.6. Property tax is up by 9% when compared to the prior year, and it is at 65% of the current budget, with an increase of approximately $414,000 compared to the prior year. Once we book the April distribution, that revenue source is at 86% of the budget. Sales tax is up at 8% when compared to the prior year, and with only 7 months of revenue, this is on track at 56% of the budget. Staff has been notified that approximately $182,000 in lieu sales tax or triple flip is being withheld due to the recalculation of the prior ERAF reimbursements. The state has included this repayment of the triple flip in their proposed 15-16 budget, so we're hopeful that we will get that in time to actually record it into the current year during the audit process. Business tax is currently at 79% of budget compared to 106% in the prior year. Revenues are slightly higher than the prior year by about $75,000, and the city receives the majority of the property tax at the beginning of the fiscal year, and that explains why it's over the 75%. However, this revenue should be closer to 88%. There still is the airport tax that we have 2 quarters left, so we know that we should be receiving around another $360-something thousand. So as I mentioned at mid-year when I did my report, I would continue to monitor this revenue source to determine if an adjustment needed to be made at this quarter. And at this time, I am recommending a decrease of $300,000 in this line item to actually reflect the revenue that we are projecting. Hotel motel tax, this revenue is showing a 12% increase over the prior year, with only 8 months of revenue being received. Staff is recommending that this revenue source be increased by $300,000 in order to reflect the anticipated revenue that we will receive. On departmental revenues, overall departmental revenues are on track at about 72% of budget. Staff is requesting a couple of budget increases in these line items. For the police revenue, we're asking for an increase in $9,265, and this was a donation that we received for the police canine, so we just want to adjust the budget to reflect the donation that we've already received. And then $200,000 in building revenue, and this again is something that if you look on the quarter report, you see that we actually have received quite a bit more than we budgeted. For general fund expenditures are at 27. Our budget is at $27 million, or 71% of budget. This shows that departments are monitoring their expenditures and staying within their budget. However, staff is again recommending some adjustments in order to avoid certain departments from going over budget. Again, we're asking for an increase in appropriations of the $9,265 for the police canines. Since they have already purchased that, it has caused their line item to go over budget. In the building department, we're asking for an increase of $100,000 for professional services. In Planning Department, we're asking for an increase of $50,000 for professional services and $50,000 for personnel services. And this increase is due to the increase in development activity, and we've had to use additional consultants and personnel staffing. When the water fund revenues are down approximately $200,000 less than prior year, and this can be attributed to a ongoing decrease in consumption, which should be anticipated due to the drought, so water conservation efforts. For the wastewater fund, revenues at third quarter were approximately $10.7 million compared to $10 million in the prior year. And this increase is again due to the 9 months of rate increases that were approved in the 5-year rate adjustment. Cable television, actual revenues were slightly lower than the prior year by about $68,000. However, expenditures are $298,000 higher than prior year and are currently outpacing revenues by $483,000. The self-insurance fund, this fund is at 75% budget mark. However, staff again is requesting an increase in this line item also, or this fund. Additional appropriation of $672,000 is being requested to fund anticipated claims and an increase in premium costs, and these were previously approved by the City Council. This increase will be allocated across the 3 different funds: the general fund, the water fund, and the wastewater fund. And just I wanted to give you a quick overview on this schedule. You'll see that we are asking the net increase is the $460,000 that would be for the self-insurance. The other revenues and expenditures actually net out to 0. So the only increase to the general fund would be the amount to fund the self-insurance fund for the workers' comp and the general liability costs. And here we see the self-insurance fund. So the revenue would increase because the departments would transfer that money into the revenue, and then the expenditures and the workers' comp claim are for some pending, like I said, anticipated claims, and then general liability is just some premium increases. And here is the wastewater fund and the water fund's amount for that same allocation. And with that, that concludes my report. If you have any questions.
Any questions for Angela? Ken?
I'm very predictable as far as dealing with your predecessors. This is all good news, isn't it?
Yes.
This is all, and why don't you come out and say things are, I mean, I used to hit
things
O'Leary and say, come on, man, we came out of a recession and things are, very cautious. So I realize that, there was conditions on some of the funds, triple flip, I still don't understand that, but for the resident, for the business owner or whatever, what is your look at the forecast as we go through the summer and then approach a holiday season with the economy, the San Bruno economy?
Well, you're asking me mid-budget preparation time, so we've actually been looking at this very closely and evaluating all of the revenues. And right now we're projecting an overall increase in general fund revenues in 15-16 of about 6%. So doing very well. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyone else?
Quick, I think the adjustments that we're doing, I appreciate that to keep it current. Obviously, in the building, there is the $200,000 of increase. There's going to be $200,000 of professional services, and that's a wash. So are we perceiving that there will still be some possible additional revenues that will come in the last quarter?
In building,
yes.
In building, yes. There are some revenues that we get. We have some projects that are out that should be pulling permits pretty soon. So, yes, we anticipate that those will be going forward.
Okay. That's it for now.
Okay. Anyone else? Action by the council?
Move to adopt.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye. No, we're adopting.
The third quarter.
Third quarter.
And the adjustments.
There is a resolution.
Adjustments.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilmember Medina.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Salazar.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.